tonight, find out the direction of this fall Student Government Association.
Plus, students talk about how the government reinforces good citizenship. Stay tuned. TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the High-Definition Digital Production Center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Nightly News for April 4th, 2012. I'm Tiffany Lester.
And I'm Courtney Steele. Thank you for joining us this evening. The Student Government Association held its last meeting for the spring semester in the Hall of Honor Tuesday night. Judson Garner has more on what to expect from the SGA in the fall semester.
The current SGA president attended his last meeting Tuesday night. He says that the support of students motivated him.
After 4 years of being involved with the SGA, it feels really good to notice or have students notice that something that you've done.
Laster says he hopes the next SGA Senate will keep their minds on solely serving all students.
I hope that what I've done, my leadership was able to reflect that and will carry on throughout the next years. And I'm pretty sure with the new exec that's coming in, I know that for a fact that that's what they're going to try to work on doing.
And the SGA president-elect hopes to not only positively affect Troy University students next year, but also students from across the state of Alabama.
The main thing that I'm excited about is having an increased student advocacy in the legislature in Montgomery. We're going to create a lobby board, which will in essence be a group of students that are going to meet, talk about the issues that they're facing, that are a result of the legislation that's passed by our state government, and then go up to Montgomery and talk to different representatives and senators about that.
And with 4 years of service behind him, the current president stresses the importance of student involvement with Troy University.
I encourage students, please get involved, whether that's SGA, another kind of organization, just stay involved and serve others, because that's what we're here to do.
Judson Garner, Troy TrojanVision News.
And again, the SGA meetings will go on hiatus over the summer, but will resume in the fall semester.
And every week, Troy University students get together to discuss an article printed in the New York Times as a part of Troy University's Reading Initiative. Jeffrey Lewis takes a look at this week's Times Talk discussion.
Every week, students meet up in the Trojan Center around lunchtime to talk about what journalists are writing about in the New York Times. Wednesday was the 11th meeting this year. Students talked with faculty about what's going on around the world.
What works is we have a faculty or staff facilitator each week that selects an article either from an area of interest, an area of expertise, and discusses it over free pizza in the Trojan Center room 119. I oversee the program, and so this week I decided to take a look at what does good citizenship mean and how does government reinforce the idea of good citizenship.
Even though the New York Times isn't a local newspaper, students still need to be informed on what's going on around the nation.
To me, it's all about being informed and reacting in a rational, informed way rather than reacting in an emotionally charged way.
Opinions on different issues can be used to bridge the gap between people who grew up in a different culture.
Certainly, it offers a perspective into what are some of the pertinent topics that are of concern in American society, and it offers a chance for international students to offer their perspective on their thoughts, whether that be in American society or within global society.
Jeffrey Lewis, Troy TrojanVision News.
The next Times Talk will be next Wednesday at noon in the Trojan Center, room 119. And this week is Alpha Phi Alpha Week, and the fraternity provided Troy University's female students with an opportunity to win a crown.
That's right, Tiffany. They did so with the pageant theme, Black Pearls of the Nile. Derek James has the details.
The men of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was not putting on the usual Black Greek show, but gave 7 women a chance to show other students what they could do on the stage. The fraternity hosted their annual Miss Black and Gold pageant Tuesday night in the Trojan Center Theater, so they could show students that there is more to the fraternity.
I hope they were just able to get a chance where they could represent me and my fraternity in a different light to give people a chance to see that it is beautiful black women in their neighborhood and community that can't represent themselves elegantly. It's pretty much just to give them a chance to participate in a pageant that's a little different.
The 2012 Miss Black and Gold winner is Crystal Hightower, a senior from Dothan, Alabama, majoring in elementary education. Winning Miss Black and Gold was exciting for her, but she wasn't a rookie to how the game is played.
I did pageants in high school, and I took a break, so I kind of missed it. I had to get a little bit more in shape, and I had to just practice a lot and get back into the routine. But once I got into the routine, it just fit like a glove.
And just like other pageants, the road doesn't end here. Hightower will travel with the fraternity to their district conference and participate in the Miss Black and Gold to represent the state of Alabama. She is going to be getting ready like other pageant winners. Practice, practice, practice.
My plan is just, practice everything even more, just refine it, my talents and just do my best.
Hightower received a slash, flowers, tiara, and a $300 book scholarship. Derrica James, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Alpha Phi Alpha's next event will be tonight at 7 in the Math and Science Complex as they discuss the issues of the Trayvon Martin case.
And now taking a look at news from around the state. In Pelham, tens of thousands of businesses have missed a deadline set by the state's strict immigration law to register with a federal database that lets employers verify the citizenship status of would-be workers. The federal government says 18,137 Alabama companies had enrolled in the E-Verify system by Monday, the day after the deadline.
In Huntsville, a Madison County court has issued a permanent injunction against the county storm shelter company. The injunction issued yesterday means the operators of Tornado Masters, Leslie and Grady Holt, cannot build any more storm systems. The court found none of the shelters meet specifications established by the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
And in Montgomery, the Senate approves legislation that will provide an extra $45 million to the prison system to try to prevent a release of prisoners and nearly $119,000 to a Carrollton woman who was wrongfully jailed for 9 months on a capital murder charge. The bill still must pass the House and be signed by the governor.
And still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, the softball and baseball teams travel to Birmingham to take on the Blazers Tuesday night. Danielle Percival will be in with the recap of those games when she joins us with sports.
But first, powerful storms swept through Texas Tuesday. We will have some of those stories on survival when we come back.
Everywhere, but so far there are no reports of loss of life. I'm Karen Brown in Forney, Texas, and coming up we'll have the very latest on the tornadoes.
I'm Mia Hamm. As an athlete, I know injuries happen quickly, so I've teamed up with the American Association of Orthodontists to ask athletes to play it safe. Wear mouthguards, face masks, and helmets to prevent injuries. Visit braces.org.
RBIs and 36 homers. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it deep back into the stand.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Over the course of time, Troy has consistently turned out quality graduates.
We're trying to develop future leaders.
If it had not been for Troy University, I would have never had the honor of being the Alabama Teacher of the Year.
We want to educate the mind to think, the heart to feel, the body to act. And we do that within the framework of one real university.
Troy University, in class, online, within reach. Troy.edu.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now for a look at what's happening across the nation and around the world, we go to Tiffany Lester at the Global News Desk. Tiffany.
Thanks, Courtney. The National Weather Service will head out to North Texas today to survey the damage caused by Tuesday's powerful storms. As many as a dozen tornadoes may have touched down. Karen Brown reports there are many stories of survivals as people begin to pack up the pieces.
Sandy Cooper is trying to salvage memories.
I'm gathering pictures that I have found.
Photos are scattered throughout the debris in Arlington, Texas.
I'm gathering the memories of the people that may not be able to find them.
Oh, wow! The National Weather Service estimates as many as a dozen tornadoes tore through the Dallas area Tuesday.
Holy moly.
The powerful storms tossed big rigs around like toys, flattened trucks, and destroyed homes and businesses.
That roar of a tornado, I will never forget that.
85-year-old Robert Simmons' grandson had to be wheeled out of their home on a stretcher. He was injured, protecting him.
He helped me get in the bathtub and put some pillows over me. The time he got the pillows over me, I heard this cracking. It's something like a freight train.
Here in Forney, house after house was damaged. The roof of the elementary school was torn off with the children inside. One mom had just gone in to pick up her child when her car was tossed hundreds of feet. No one was injured.
I'm just glad to be here.
Sherry Innick's home was destroyed. She was babysitting 3 infants when the tornado siren sounded in Forney.
It's here, and I went and jumped in the bathtub, put a comforter over us, and that was it.
Dawn Henderson survived in the bathroom of her business.
If this concrete tilt wall had gone the other direction, it would have crushed us.
Loss of property everywhere, but so far, no reports of loss of life. Karen Brown, CBS News, Forney, Texas.
GOP frontrunner Mitt Romney now has more than half the number of delegates he needs to clinch the Republican presidential nomination. He swept the Tuesday's primaries, and today he'll campaign in Pennsylvania. Voters there go to the polls later this month. Durate Geraldino has the latest from Washington.
Mitt Romney was all smiles after notching wins in all 3 of Tuesday's primaries.
We won them all.
His victories in Wisconsin, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. give him more than twice the number of delegates than Rick Santorum. More importantly, he now holds more than half the 1,144 needed to secure the GOP nomination. But instead of slamming his Republican opponents, Romney turned his attention on President Obama.
When you drive home tonight and you stop by the gas station, just take a look at the prices and then ask yourself, 4 more years of that?
Romney also painted the president as being out of touch after spending the last 3 years in the White House.
President Obama thinks he's doing a good job. I'm not kidding. He actually thinks he's doing a great job. He thinks he's doing an historically great job, like Abraham Lincoln and LBJ and FDR.
Rick Santorum campaigned hard in Wisconsin, but spent primary night in his home state of Pennsylvania. He told supporters he's staying in the race.
Pennsylvania and half the other people in this country have yet to be heard. And we're going to go out and campaign here and across this nation to make sure that their voices are heard in the next few months.
Santorum has predicted a victory in the Keystone State. Pennsylvania holds its primary April 24th, along with New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Delaware. Newt Gingrich didn't hold any campaign events on Tuesday. Ron Paul held a town hall in California. Both candidates say they too plan to stay in the race. In Washington, Duarte Geraldino, CBS News.
And that wraps things up from the Global News Desk. To see more stories from across the country and around the world, including on how a dispatcher helped a new dad with a special delivery, you can tune into TrojanVision Global News right after the nightly news. Now, back to you, Courtney.
Thanks, Tiffany. Now Danielle Purcell joins with a look at sports. So Danielle, know that both the softball and the baseball teams were on the road yesterday, but they stayed in state for some action.
That's right, Courtney. They were on the road in Birmingham, but it turns out it wasn't the Trojans' Knights. We'll get right into that. After 6 innings of a scoreless game, an unusual play gave UAB the victory over the Trojans softball team last night in Birmingham. The Trojans fell 1-0 to the Blazers. The lone run came in the bottom of the 6th when, with the bases loaded after a strikeout, the ball was returned to Trojan pitcher Ashley Rainey, but she was ruled to be out of the pitcher circle and the runner on third advanced to home, giving UAB the only run they needed to win. Rainey finished with 7 strikeouts in a complete game effort with an intentional walk and 5 hits. The Trojans will return to action this weekend when they travel to take on Western Kentucky in a 3-game Sunbelt series. I'm beginning to think there's something fishy about the Trojans playing in Birmingham. Anyone remember the football game at UAB in 2010? Need I say more? Well, the interesting endings for Trojan teams in Birmingham continued last night as the baseball team lost to the Blazers late in the game as well. UAB scored 3 runs in the 8th inning, including the game winner on a squeeze bunt to defeat Troy 4-3 Tuesday night in Birmingham. The Trojans carried a 3-1 lead into the bottom of the 8th inning, but the 3 runs from the Blazers were enough to seal the deal and grab the win late. Joe Hernandez took a no decision for the Trojans after entering the 8th inning in line for the victory. He scattered 3 hits over 4 innings, allowing just 1 run. Tyson Workman took the loss with one unearned run on one hit in 2/3 of an inning. The Trojans return to Sunbelt Conference action this weekend with a 3-game series at FIU in Miami. This will be the third road series in 4 conference weekends so far this year for Troy. And the Trojan men's golf team was led by senior Ricky Casco at the ASU Red Wolf Intercollegiate, where they placed 4th as a team. Casco was just one shot away from being in a tie for first place and heading to a playoff with 4 other players, but instead Casco finished in 5th place. The Trojans finished with a 3-round score of 871, and they will be in action again April 14th and 15th when they travel to Raleigh, North Carolina to compete in the Wolfpack Spring Open. Speaking of the Blazers, the football team will be opening their season against UAB, but that's not until September 1st. We don't have a game preview just yet since it's still a few months away, but let's take a look at how things are shaping up on the defensive side of the ball, shall we? From Sunbelt champs to finishing at the bottom of the pile, the Trojans struggled in 2011, but it's a new year and a new season. Now that doesn't mean there won't be any errors, but it's a learning process, and the defense got the chance to work on their skills at T-Day.
Made a couple mistakes today, cleaned them up towards the end, and we're gonna be looking good come season.
There were a few players who started off hot. Brendan Trawick got an interception for a pick 6 against Corey Robinson, and head coach Larry Blakeney knows those are crucial plays.
Had a big play on interception for a touchdown, which will win a game for you.
I seen the tight end come across, I jumped him, and the quarterback made a pass, and I caught the ball and ran for the touchdown.
The secondary is where the team seemed to struggle last year. Blakeney has hired a new cornerbacks coach in Julius Brown, but the improvements in the play still have to be made.
I saw some guys in the secondary making mistakes on the whole coverage, and it may be that we need to continue to simplify defensively and just try to find players.
The team may not have started out strong on defense, but did seem to build momentum during the game, and finishing strong is something they knew they had to work on.
If you look back before halftime, it was 10-7 games, 7-3 games. They're really close, but just had to really focus on finishing the whole game. And if we can do that, we'll be successful.
And success is what they're hungry for.
Being one of the, I think, 90 in the nation in defense, yeah, we're definitely hungry getting back to where we was.
We're still progressing as a D coming off a season we came off last year. We're still progressing. We're still going to, over the next couple of weeks, we still got to progress even more.
And the Trojans return to action this weekend as they head to Phoenix City for their second scrimmage of the spring. Kickoff for that game is set for 6 o'clock Friday. So it's the end of Trojan sports action until the weekend. So we've got baseball and softball heading out, and then football's going to be on the road too. So hopefully we can pick up a couple victories.
You know, a win to win even when you're playing with yourself.
Well, that's right.
Thank you.
And still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, find out why students are turning canned foods into castles in today's edition of Trojan Talk.
Plus, we've heard rumors of rain today, but yet to see any showers. Courtney, there's still a chance we may see some wet weather.
Well, Courtney, there's a chance that those rain clouds could tease us just a little bit longer, but I'll have more on that coming up in weather.
Oh, this isn't good. I was a gift from him to her. I'm going to the animal shelter, which isn't necessarily bad. I just hate the stigma associated with shelter pets. People will think I bite or that I spray everywhere. They're the ones with problems. I'm totally fine. Adopt me, you'll see. I'm gonna go pack.
Do you like this top? So gay. Really? Yeah, it's totally gay.
You know, you really shouldn't say that.
Say what?
Well, say that something's gay when you mean it's bad. It's insulting. What if every time something was bad, everybody said, "Oh, that's so girl wearing a skirt as a top"?
Oh, you are.
Those are cute jeans, though. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
Troy University's official student newspaper, The Metropolitan, comes out every Thursday. To give us a look at what will be in tomorrow's edition of The Trop, here's Ed Bailey.
Good evening, Troy University. Here's what you can expect to see in this week's edition of The Trop. News will have the details on Trojan Dining's less than stellar health score. We'll also have coverage on the town hall meeting. Features will offer a special look at the new internship app on Blackboard. Arts and Entertainment will have a review of Band Geeks. And sports will have coverage of the Trojans' exploits on the fairways and word on the newest addition to the Sun Belt Conference. And that's tomorrow's Trop Today. I'm Perspectives Editor Ed Bailey.
And now Courtney Addison joins with a look at weather.
So, Courtney, we've been hearing rumors of rain, and the sky's been very cloudy and gray lately. Should we be expecting that rain, or is it just not going to show up for us?
Well, those rain clouds could be sticking into later on tonight and into tomorrow, but it looks like that rain is going to make it by tomorrow afternoon and rain pretty much all day tomorrow, but I'll get into that later on. But first, let's look at our campus snapshot. Looking at our campus snapshot, we see that the sun is still shining on the quad, a cloudy day outside. It's a good time that you go outside and enjoy a nice walk while it's cool outside. And looking at our current conditions, we see mostly cloudy skies, temperature at 76, dew point at 60, humidity at 57%, barometer at 29.80 and steady, winds coming in from the southwest at 10 miles per hour. And looking at today's statistics, we had a high of 78, a low of 63, there was no rain, sunrise was at 6:27 a.m., and the sun should set at 7:06 p.m. And now let's take a look at our temperatures from around the state. We see Mobile and Troy both coming in at 74, Montgomery at 83, Dothan at 76, Phoenix City at 80, Birmingham at 79, and Huntsville at 80. For the most part, everyone is seeing those cloudy skies and with a little bit of sun coming in Troy and in Montgomery. And looking at our current temperatures around the southeast, we see most everyone is seeing those very warm spring-like temperatures, getting ready for a warm evening. And we also see Orlando is even seeing temperatures in the 90s. Most everyone is sticking around in the 70s and the 80s, but some places are seeing into the 90s. And our current temperatures around the United States, we see very cool temperatures in the northeast, but if we turn back and look towards the Midwest, they're seeing temperatures in the 60s and 50s, so they're even starting to warm up a little bit. In our current surface area, we see a lot of showers just lingering around in random places, and we also see this cold front pushing this band of storm down through Kentucky and Virginia and into North Carolina. But looking closer into our area, we see a lot of rain just lingering around in the Gulf of Mexico, which we could possibly be seeing coming into the peninsula and panhandle of Florida. But we also have a cold front pushing in and pushing storms in our way. And looking at our precipitation forecast for the next 48 hours, we see a lot of rain for the most part all over the southeast, and we also even see a little bit more back towards the west and even some icy conditions up towards into those states. And we also see, we could be seeing anywhere from a half an inch to an inch of rain, and some places could be seeing 3 inches of rain. And looking into Thursday, rain for the most part, again, anywhere from an inch to a half an inch of rain, so make sure you are very careful if you're traveling. And into Friday, it's moved out for the most part, and except for within the peninsula of Florida and parts of Georgia, they're still seeing some of that rain. And by Saturday, it's moved out for the most part, but we also see another band of storms getting ready to come in, so we could possibly be seeing that in the beginning or latter part of next week. And by Sunday, it moved out again for the most part. And for tonight's forecast, we see mostly cloudy skies with scattered thunderstorms, light and variable winds coming in from the southwest at 5 miles per hour with a low of 62. In tomorrow's forecast, we see scattered thunderstorms. Some of those could possibly be very severe with a 60% chance of rain with winds coming in from the west-southwest at 8 miles per hour with a high of 77. And looking at our class outlook, at 7 a.m. should be a rainy morning. And by 10 a.m., the thunderstorms have started to roll in. And also by 1 p.m., those thunderstorms should continue into the afternoon. And by 3 p.m., there's still that 6% chance of rain, so make sure you keep your umbrella and be very careful. And looking at our 4-day forecast, we have a high of 77 on Thursday, low of 55. Friday with a high of 76 with a low of 51. Saturday, high of 77, low of 52. And Sunday with a high of 80. So, Tiffany, that rain could be lingering into tomorrow, but it should be moved out so we have a beautiful Easter weekend for everyone to enjoy.
Thank you very much, Courtney.
Thank you.